The funny thing is, talking to all these Olympians the last few weeks about their experience, and everybody has a different experience, but every one of them, to a man, has said, don't ask an NBA player about their Olympic experience because it doesn't count. The five-star hotels, they convince me that they have caviar for breakfast and they bathe in champagne. That is what other Olympians think of you. True?
Close. Close. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, we would love to stay in a village, certainly, because that really gives you the complete Olympic experience. But it's just not the case.
And no champagne baths, though? Tell me that.
No champagne baths.
Okay.
I know from personal experience and popping champagne bottles after you win an NBA championship that it burns your eyes. It's not a good feeling. So taking a bath in it would not be a good look.
That will make them feel much better that you said that now. I was talking to one Olympian who said the coolest thing about opening ceremonies was, he said, at first I didn't know how big of a deal it was, but he said I was about 5 feet away from Kobe, and I kept hearing him say, wow. And I thought, well, if one of the biggest names on the planet keeps saying, wow, it must be a pretty big deal. So for a guy who has had a lot of wow in his life, what was it that so affected you?
Well, I mean, just the magnitude of what's going on. You know, you understand you're at the Olympics and we're all staged in a village and we're sitting there, we're just waiting to walk to the stadium. And then once you actually come into the stadium and you see all the people and all the flags and there's all the different countries that are staged and, staged inside the stadium there, that's when it hits you that you're a part of something that's this big with so many different countries and different backgrounds and different stories. And, here we all are.
What do you get out of the experience? What do you get out of it? How much are you able to partake in it?
Well, I mean, you get a chance to really go to so many events. I mean, I've been pretty much everywhere just because I enjoy seeing great athletes in their environment. I mean, it's rare that we get a chance to be spectators, get a chance to be fans. And so at the Olympics, I really try to get out and enjoy it as much as I can.
So coolest events you have been to have been what?
The indoor cycling was off the charts. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I went twice, and I mean, the velodrome was literally shaking. That was something to see.
What was it from the competitor in you to be able to watch that? What was different from your world that captivated you?
Well, I think the thing that was really cool about cycling is that all the performers are right there in front of you. There's not like a back stage area where they're back there warming up. I mean, they're warming up right there in front of you, right there in the middle of the pit. So you kind of get to see the anxiousness or the nervousness or the preparation right before a sprint duel, which I really enjoyed watching Victoria Pendleton and Anna Meares kind of go head up, two of the biggest rivals in the sport. But you get to see them right then and there, prepare moments before this race, and that was very exciting.
Can you go to those events? And I don't want to say blend in because you'll laugh at me when I say that, but are you able to go enjoy it and be a fan?
Yeah, oh yeah. I walked right through the front and just had my ticket just like everybody else and walked in and sat down and enjoyed it. I loved it.
And you're not dealing with fans coming up or screaming, or can you tune that out?
No, I mean, you deal with it, but everybody's very polite and very respectful. And so, it's especially if like there's a race going on or I'm paying attention to something, I'll say, no, not now. No, thank you.
We know how much of a leader you are on the court, but how much of that role do you take off the court when it comes to all these young guys around you? How much do you make sure they experience the experience?
It's you kind of been around the block and you kind of know what's coming before it comes, and you just try to help the young guys out a little bit and kind of give them a sense of direction. You kind of become the compass. And then in terms from a competitive standpoint, I just have to make sure everybody's staying focused on what we have to do. There's got a lot of young guys on this team that just full of energy and want to bounce around all over the place. So,
does that make you feel old or young?
No, it makes me feel experienced, savvy.
If you could instill one lesson into all those young brains from 33 years and 16 seasons, what would it be? Enjoy
the moment. That's really the most important thing, is enjoy the moment. And that's why here at the Olympics, I try to get out to as many events as I possibly can. You understanding that these situations don't come around too often. And you're here. While you're here, you have to try to take advantage of it as much as possible.
We ask so many Olympians what that moment is like when they're standing on the medal stand and they're wearing that gold medal. And some talk about the kind of the highlight reel that goes into their mind really quickly. And some of the greatest moments they've had, their biggest triumphs, and some go through the hardest moments they've overcome to get there.
Sure.
When you were standing there with the gold medal around your neck, what were you thinking?
Just thinking about all the journeys of from starting to play basketball from the age of 3, being in Italy, then coming back to America, and then high school, and then going from high school to the NBA, and all the ups and downs that comes along with that. You kind of just start flashing through all of those times, all the good times, the bad times, and here you are representing your country as a gold medal champion.
What really is going through your mind as you're standing there?
I'm sure. I think that's the case with everybody. I mean, if you stand and you watch Michael Phelps up there, or Lochte up there, and Allyson Felix, or whoever it may be, and you look at them, I'm sure that's going through their mind as well.
How is that different from holding the Larry O'Brien trophy over your head?
Well, it's different because you're not playing for one particular area or one particular brand or one particular market. You're playing for your country, and it's a bigger family. So opening ceremonies was a great example. All of us U.S. athletes, we're all on the same team. We may play different sports, but we're all part of the same family. So it's bigger than yourself. It's bigger than your own sport. It's representing the country that we love.
On a much smaller scale, but somewhat maybe comparable, is there something to that of missing out on the college experience, all of a sudden having this family where it's not so much the business, the job?
Well, I mean, I think it's the duration of the time. It's kind of like a college atmosphere, I guess. I mean, it's
from what you've been told.
From what I've been told. I mean, you get to the medal rounds and it's single elimination, and you're dealing with that kind of pressure, and so from that standpoint, I think yeah. But in NBA, if you're on the right group, surrounded by the right group of guys, you get that family atmosphere even more so, because you're around each other a lot more. So,
talking to Olympians about who their favorite Olympian has been, or who their favorite person they've met throughout the month has been, your name always comes up. It's the first one where they're so excited to say, I met Kobe Bryant. Who's your Kobe Bryant?
Wow, it's tough. I mean, I've had so many of them, because I'm very familiar with a lot of different sports, and so having an opportunity to go around the village in the cafeteria and talk to some of them, to me, that's pretty cool. So it's hard to kind of single out one. I met Usain Bolt for the first time.
What's that conversation like?
Well, I mean, it was a very quick one, because he had just finished his semifinals for the 100, and I was standing there, and he came over and said hello, and I learned that he was a Boston Celtics fan.
Ooh.
I learned that I'm his favorite player, though, and yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't realize how tall he was. I knew how tall he was, but I didn't realize he was actually my height. I mean, that's somebody to be that fast at that size is pretty scary.
When you're meeting these Olympians, when you're going through the village, are they asking you questions? Are you asking them? I'm trying to decide what the protocol would be with that.
Well, it's a conversation, so it's kind of it goes both ways, really. I mean, I'm very curious about how they prepare and how they train, and what are they thinking before match. Like some of them get nervous before matches, before meets, and some of them don't. It's interesting to kind of see who does what.
In terms of everything you've done internationally, domestically, everything, 50 years from now, a father and a son are walking by Staples Center, and they stop by a bronze statue up front, and the little boy says to his dad, Daddy, who was Kobe Bryant? What would you hope the dad's answer would be?
It's the Black Mamba. And then that just opens up a whole nother can of worms. That'll be pretty cool. And then maybe that'll pique the kid's interest, and he'll go back and, do a little history research.
Where would you want that history to start? What would you hope when the kid looks at him cluelessly and says, I don't understand that? What do you hope the long answer is?
I think it'd be cool for them to start at the end and then work their way back to the beginning. This way they get to see the results, and then they get a chance to go through the journey and go through the process backwards. And they can see all the work and all the ups and downs and that it takes to get to that point.